Well, Bloomberg Generation Next takes a look at how prominent families and business leaders are adapting for the future. This week, we hear from Daniel Hendler of Meriton, Australia's biggest apartment developer. Daniel is the grandson of billionaire developer Harry Triguboff, one of the country's richest men with more than half a century in the property business. Also known as High Rise Harry, his closely held Meriton business has built 1 out of every 10 apartments in Sydney. He completed his first project at the age of 30. And now at that same age, Daniel and his brother are being groomed to take over their grandfather's empire. Daniel sat down for an exclusive interview with Bloomberg's Paul Allen to discuss the future of the family business and the outlook for Australia's property sector.
Definitely in terms of demand, we don't have students, we don't have immigrants, so demand has been hit there. But I think it's been partially offset by low interest rates, and which has encouraged local buyers. And then also we are dealing with very slow or very long approval times. So our supply is low. So I think they've partially offset each other, so the market's holding up. In terms of other trends, we're seeing like people want bigger units. We're seeing demand for 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, penthouses, so we're adapting our developments to cater for that. And then also I think Queensland is definitely experiencing a renaissance, both in terms of sales and in terms of the tourism up there. Our hotels are very good up there. So we've just bought another site in Queensland because we've got a lot of confidence up there. In terms of the future, again, we'll see what happens with that. But I think we've been so incredibly successful over the last 60 years that I think we'll largely stick to what we do so well. So that's apartments in areas that we know. But in saying that, we have started to expand our footprint in a conservative way. So we're building a new service apartment hotel in Melbourne and one in Canberra as well. So it'll be good we think those are going to be very successful. It'll be good to see how they go and see what happens from there.
Now, more presently, Meriton and much of the hotel industry has been dealing with COVID. How's that changed the business model for you?
In terms of COVID, we did give 4 hotels to the government when our hotel occupancies were down at like rock bottom, which did partially help us get through those bad times. But now we're seeing hotels occupancies and rates really starting to improve. Not back above where they were before COVID, but improving. So yeah, it's getting better.
I interviewed Harry Triguboff, your grandfather, a few years ago, and one of the things he said to me is that every year he has a fixed number of apartments in mind that he's going to build, and he just goes and builds them no matter what, no matter the economic outlook. Is that still part of the company's vision?
Well, that's an interesting question because we always try to work to a certain level of production. But the only thing that stops us from doing that is those slow approvals I'm talking about. So usually we're around about 2,000 apartments a year. We're probably going to be a bit less than that, but hopefully we'll be back up there next year and years following.
And how about the future of Meriton? Do you see this company growing? It's been a tightly held family business for a long time. Do you think that will ever change?
I think Harry's always encouraged the family to get involved in the business, and I think, you know, from my perspective, I very much want to continue this business, and I hope it stays with the family, and it's been so successful, so I hope we can continue to do that.
All right, so no IPO plans?
No, not that I know of. Yeah.
So you're 30 years old now. Were you always interested in joining the family business, or has it just kind of happened?
So when I was at university, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. So I started coming into Meriton part-time and really started to enjoy it. So finished my degree, switched my degree from business to property economics, and then went full-time when I finished, and haven't looked back, really been enjoying it.
I can't help but notice that succession has skipped a generation. You're Harry's grandchild. What happened to your parents and their siblings?
It's me and my brother in the business full-time, working closely with Harry. Although my mum, Sharon, and my auntie, Orna, aren't in full-time, they're in every week to keep in touch with what's happening with the business, so still involved as well.
So why are they not rising to the top? Are they just happy to be in the background? Were they not interested?
I think they obviously weren't interested in working full-time, but they're definitely interested in continuing the business into the future because it is such an incredible business. So yeah, we'll all be involved.
So what's it like working with Harry Triguboff? Do you see him day to day? How does the decision-making process work? Does he give you much autonomy, or does he override a lot of your decisions?
It's obviously, Harry's been incredibly successful, 60 years, over 80,000 apartments. So it's amazing to work with him day to day. He's in the office like 5 days a week and on sites in the morning. And in terms of decision making, he definitely likes to be involved in all major decisions. He's the captain, makes the captain's calls. But he also listens to not only family but senior staff, and then, well, you know, if we suggest a strategy and it's logical and it makes sense, then he'll go with that decision. If it's the wrong decision, he won't be shy to say that either.
Do you ever feel overawed by that legacy?
Obviously, it's a big legacy, but I just focus on the work at hand, growing, improving my skill set, and the rest, we'll see what happens.
And can you point to anything that you've learned from him? You know, what's one of the key lessons you've learned from Harry Triguboff?
I'd say there's a few major things. Learning, of course, a lot of things all the time, because our business is so diverse. Definitely to work hard. As I said, he's in the office every day, and then on the weekends he spends time going through management reports. Then I think also always cash is king. We've got very low debt, which makes us our own master, which I think is very important, gives us a lot of flexibility. And then speed as well. So we could, for example, we could be building a 60-story tower, be halfway through, and then the market changes. We need different unit types, we need different unit sizes. We won't hesitate to go change plans, get approvals, and change mid-construction, so we can meet the market as quickly as possible.
That was Meriton's Daniel Hendler speaking exclusively with Bloomberg's Paul Allen.